Hello everyone. Welcome to the STARS webinar, From Registration to Submission, PLU's Perspective on STARS. My name is Jillian Buckholz. I'm the STARS Program Coordinator and I'll be your facilitator today. If you have successfully logged into the webinar, you should see a screen illustrating the title of the webinar and a photo in the background. To listen by telephone, please call the number provided on the right-hand toolbar and enter the access code when prompted so you can hear. You can also just tune in with your computer speakers or headphones. You can choose whichever option is best for you. If you are having difficulties, we will be posting a video of this webinar on our website soon after the live broadcast, so you'll still be able to see it if you're unable to see it now. If you have questions at any time, you can type your questions into the question pane in the right-hand toolbar. We'll address all questions at the end of the webinar, and due to the influx of questions, we might not be able to answer all of the questions during the Q&A portion. However, if you feel like your question isn't answered, you can always email stars@ac.org and we'll get back to you with that information. Also, please note that we will not be using the raise your hand feature since we are allowing attendees to submit questions throughout the webinar. As I mentioned, I'm Jillian Buckholz, the STARS Program Coordinator and Facilitators of these webinars. Joining me today is Chrissy Cooley-Mahoney. Chrissy is a graduate of The Ohio State University and has been a longtime environmental activist. When completing her undergraduate work in environmental science, she created the sustainability student group that leveraged the LEED building policy at Ohio State. She worked with campus administrators to develop correlating green building policies such as lighting and plumbing standards, as well as apply pressure for more responsible policies. Her work led her to this national nonprofit, Young People For, the youth branch of People for the American Way. Through this, she became a mentor to environmental student groups across her campus and the nation, raising money and championing their causes. Cooley has completed YP4's Fellow, Senior Fellow, and Leadership Academy programs. Cooley-Mahoney was instrumental in the creation of the first sustainability coordinator position at The Ohio State University's Business Operations Division, where she also filled the first post there. She was able to construct a 30% post-consumer FSC paper purchasing policy that the university adopted, as well as several other environmentally preferable purchasing guidelines. Currently, Chrissy serves as the manager of the Office of Sustainability at Pacific Lutheran University. So welcome, Chrissy, to our webinar. And I also want to welcome everyone for joining us today. We're really glad that you could join us, so thanks. When we get started today, I'm going to sort of walk everyone through the STARS process, give a little bit of background. Chrissy's going to be talking about registration to submission, and I'm just going to give a little insight on what the process is from my perspective as an AC staff person. Then Chrissy will talk to us about her experience, and again, we'll have Q&A at the end. So step by step through the STARS process. I'm just going to click on the link here and take us to the STARS website, where we have the step-by-step process through STARS listed on our Get Involved page on the STARS website, which is stars@ac.org. You can see here the steps are pretty simple, and really the first step is determining if STARS is right for you. We have some links here to the STARS 1.0 technical manual, so you can see all the credits and the criteria associated with those outlined. We also have some benefits of participating listed that were taken from a survey from the STARS charter participants and the reasons why they're participating in the program. We also have a great FAQ page linked here where your questions can be answered. And then the steps through the registration process, everything from setting up an HE account to actually accessing the STARS participant logo once you are registered successfully in the program. There's also a step here for reporting information, logging into the website, and how you would report your information as a STARS charter participant. The steps for submitting a rating once all of your data is submitted in the STARS reporting tool, and then some marketing information here at the last step. If you're also interested in reporting information and other pertinent pieces of information about these individual steps in the STARS process, I'd encourage you to check out our webinar archive. If you go to the news and events link here on the STARS website, and you'll see the STARS webinars to the left. This is where this video will be posted eventually after the live broadcast. But you can also see there are some other great webinars on fostering campus collaboration, how to get administrative buy-in, working with students, students, those sorts of topics that we try to cover monthly through these broadcasts. There's also a help button in the top right-hand corner of the STARS website that has a lot of really great resources for you. Again, the FAQs, getting started with the reporting tool, a link to campus sustainability discussion forums that ASHE hosts where you can post questions about STARS or higher education sustainability issues in general that you would like feedback from the higher education community. There's also a great link over here to some how-to videos, and these are really useful for basic steps like logging into the reporting tools, setting up users to your STARS report as a STARS participant, and those sorts of issues. So I'd highly encourage people to check out all of this information if you're interested in getting set up with STARS and the process from submission to registration. Also on the STARS homepage is a link to the STARS Update over here on the right-hand side. And the STARS Update is a free monthly e-newsletter that I would encourage everyone to sign up for, even if they're a participant or maybe just someone interested in the program. We send out all the most up-to-date information about the STARS program through the STARS Update to you every month. So if you're interested in staying on top of what's going on in the program, besides the website, the STARS Update is an excellent resource. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chrissy here, and she can show all of you what she's been doing at Pacific Lutheran. So Chrissy, I'll just hand it over to you.
So hello everyone, thanks for signing up for this webinar today. I hope we can help you answer some questions using this case study of Pacific Lutheran University and how we did it here. We're very proud to be a pilot participant in STARS, a charter participant, and now the first to submit. We did obtain a STARS Silver rating, and it was much hard work to get all of the data for this. So I hope to go through that today and shine a light on some technical difficulties others might be having. I know we encountered. So a little bit about Pacific Lutheran University. We're located in Tacoma, Washington. We have nearly 4,000 students when you count our graduate students, but we're primarily undergrad. There's a huge push here, something that makes us unique. Almost all of our students are encouraged to study away, and that's something that will come up later. It really affects our carbon footprint here with air travel. And another thing that makes us unique here at PLU is that sustainability has really been ingrained in our culture since our beginnings in 1890. Faculty and staff sometimes have troubles making the connection in our mission statement, but you can see the pillars of people, planet, profit, and sustainability principles right in our mission statement. So sustainability at PLU is set up, first of all, it's been around for a long time. About 12 years ago, they formed a committee of a very diverse group of representatives from all over campus, comprised of both students, faculty, and staff, and they've been meeting regularly ever since, over the past dozen years. They talk about everything ranging from the advisory level of high-level sustainability at a philosophy or tactical implementation of whatever program is on the agenda that day. About a year and a half ago, the Sustainability Office was born here on campus, and that's myself as the full-time staff member and 6 undergraduate interns. We're about to take on more, but at the time we were filling on STARS, this is what we had. There's also 2 full-time positions related to sustainability not in the office, one in waste with recycling and composting, and one in dining services. About 2 years ago, the Sustainability Committee adopted this slogan, "What are you going to do about it?" as the theme of sustainability. And I threw this up here just to show that even though there's an office on campus, sustainability isn't something that can just be boxed and put away for one or two staff members to work on. It's really integrated into every position into this campus, and the office is just here to complement those efforts, organize, and be somewhat of a hub of information. And then we also have excellent student support without which STARS wouldn't have been possible on this campus. We have Grassroots Environmental Activism Now, a student group. Each residence hall has a sustainability director. There's paid sustainability fellowships where students are allowed to submit their own research topics and then funded to pursue. And there's a paid position in our student government that works primarily with sustainability. So why register for STARS? Here on this campus, we've been very committed to sustainability. We've signed up for the American College University President's Climate Commitment, TALWA, and PLU specific goals like Going Zero Waste, our academic programming, and solar, and many others. Unfortunately, we make these goals and there's not really a tracking system, any timeline in place, any organization of where to go. It almost seems like we have 20 plans for the same end goal. So STARS really helped us to organize our efforts on campus and better communicate them to others. Also, we are the first to submit, but we're very anxious to see where we stand in benchmarking with other universities, and it's shown a light on where we could use some improvement, and we're interested to see what other schools are doing in those areas. And finally, the best reason to register is because signing up is the easy part. STARS does offer a reporter-only option where you don't need to make your scores public, but it would help you as an institution just to go through this process. Again, what PLU got most out of this was just the organization and clarity that it brings to sustainability. So how to register? We signed up at the early release, which was launched at the Greening of the Campus conference in Indianapolis last year. It was $650, which is a small price to pay for the organization we're talking about here. I would recommend starting a conversation early. The pictures here from top to bottom are our President Anderson and Dr. Sherry Tan, who serves as the VP of our Finance and Operations. Both are extremely supportive of sustainability on campus, so we kind of had it easy at PLU here. Dr. Sherry Tan is actually a co-founder of ASHE and has been tremendously supportive of the STARS process throughout and very helpful in tapping people to get data collection, or to get data for our collection. And President Anderson, like I said, he did sign TALWA and PCC. So we're very fortunate here to have support from our higher levels, but in other schools, I would recommend getting the conversation started early about what STARS can do. STARS can really bring a framework to sustainability in times where it's difficult to define, and get these people on board from the beginning before you sign up. So we came back completely jazzed from Indianapolis at the Greening of the conference. So excited, and then I and my students, we sit down, we begin looking at the STARS website and realize this is a lot of work. It is overwhelming when you get started, but just remember that STARS is noble work and it will help your campus sustainability initiatives in the long run. That being said, there's some easy starting points that are relatively easy that can help you just get moving and build the momentum. These are a couple examples that we were keeping data for on campus. You know automatically if you have a LEED building or not, for example. So using these just to practice getting our filing system, our data collection, our communication within the office, and just helping us make that first jump. These were a few that I recommend just looking at to get you moving. With that, in the very beginning, set a timeline, a goal of the goal date you'd like to be finished, working backwards from that, and make sure you know in the beginning when you are moving on track or maybe when you're not, because it's easy in the middle to realize you don't have half your credits complete and now the deadline is creeping up faster than you thought. So these are the things we did first, setting a timeline and just getting started on the easy starting points. Ask for help. STARS is not to be an isolated process, and in fact you'll lose a lot of the benefits from STARS if you treat it as just a data house. You get more accurate information by going straight to the horse's mouth, but more than that, this is an opportunity for you as a sustainability officer or just someone working in this field to build collaborative relationships that you might not have otherwise. I can say this has really helped me where I may not have enough of a reason to just chat someone else about energy conservation in their building, but talking to them about STARS and building that relationship, now I have a contact in the department that I may have never spoke to before. User Allies, our sustainability committee, was an excellent source on this campus as well as our students. If you're having trouble gathering data collection, make sure you know who may have a better relationship with someone to get that process moving. Staying organized is key. In the very beginning, especially when you are starting with these, quote, easy credits, it may feel like you can just keep it in your inbox or you'll remember or this, that, or the other thing. Not the case. PLU used a digital folder system for each credit. Then within that folder, we had a notes page that listed every time we talked to someone about that credit, the date, what was said, and the commitments that were made. And then we had a running, I guess, minutes of the communication going on around that credit. And that also helped us just keep everything together with all the backup data, the narrative that we submitted, and any contacts. My advice would be to focus on one credit at a time for answers, but holistically for making contact. For example, we have a faculty member who's really involved in our bike co-op through volunteering, through being a faculty advisor, but he's also very involved in academic sustainability. Knowing that up front and only going to him once for answers rather than twice as we worked on 2 different credits really showed him the respect that he deserved and helped us to build that relationship and keep working with him in the future. So if at first you don't get a response, change your messenger. I'm sure if you're working with STARS that you're running into frustrations with unanswered emails, unanswered phone calls. I know in my personal experience a handwritten letter has gone a long way. And also just tailoring your ask to see who might be the best messenger, student, staff, or faculty. Faculty were very difficult to get responses for here on campus coming from me, but sending one of my students to them, they'd be much more open to conversation. With that, though, check and double check. When you have all this strong, supportive community working on STARS together, it's important as whoever the actual STARS data liaison is, check and double check your data. I absolutely wish we had triple and quadruple checked. We actually did have a mistake in PAE 17 where we listed the wrong committee for an investment procedure where we actually held on campus, but the student who got the information didn't know enough to write the correct committee name through no fault of their own, but that's something that we could have checked up on. And I'll come back to that example later. So advantages that PLU had going for it, first and foremost, we were a pilot participant. The sustainability fellowships I was speaking about earlier, one of our students chose to work on STARS, the pilot, as her research. She was able to give recommendations to both ASHE staff and our staff of how to collect information. And I think on our campus, going through the pilot helped signal the need for a central source of information surrounding sustainability. So I like to thank that sustainability fellow for my position in this office. Another advantage is that we're a smaller school. There's about 600 staff members and 400 faculty, so it was easier than some to know where to navigate the system. Our student involvement definitely helped out. We had people volunteering to help with STARS. And again, the strong administrative support we have both through the representatives all across campus and from our higher administration. The biggest single advantage we had to STARS, though, was that the data collection year coincided with our long-term planning, PLU 2020. Every decade, PLU goes through a 10-year long-term horizon planning period, and this year just happened to coincide. I think that, well, first, sustainability, this is the first time it was mentioned in our 10-year planning process, which was a big event anyways, but it's very difficult to put a finger on exactly what sustainability is, and STARS was able to provide that checklist to the steering committee of PLU 2020, and 2020 was able to elevate the credibility of sustainability on campus. So it was a very symbiotic relationship, and I would recommend to anyone, if you have long-term strategic camping open to the public on your campus, get STARS involved. More than just sustainability, get STARS involved, because it will bring a certain sense of clarity that sustainability can sometimes not have. So challenges to data collection, defining sustainability for academics. I've heard this from a few of my colleagues across the country. Very difficult the way the STARS credits are worded to get credit for sustainable coursework when you don't have a definition for what sustainable coursework is. PLU missed a lot of these credits, even though we think that sustainability is infused in our curriculum. Without having that clear definition in place, we missed the credits. And I think that's okay, because it really signaled a need and helped me communicate to faculty that we actually do need this definition, and it's something we can work on in the coming years. And just like being a smaller school was a benefit, it can also be a challenge. Data is sometimes just not available. We don't need this data for anything other than carbon emissions tracking or STARS. So again, I don't look at this as a bad thing, but instead it signals a need for us to know where to start with data collection in the coming years. Going back to that timeline, set deadlines and know when to move on. Now is not the time to be trying to fulfill credits. This is a great tracking tool for you to use as a baseline for years to come, but don't let STARS overwhelm you in the way that you think you need to be checking off this checklist as you go. It's just a baseline that will help you navigate your efforts. Honesty is the first chapter in the Book of Wisdom. I encourage you to be honest, not worry about necessarily the score that you come out with at the end, but instead track exactly where you're at. And since STARS is organized into nice little categories, it helps you see concisely areas for improvement. So with that being said, this is the screenshot of our final submission here at PLU. You can see that academics is by far our weakest category. We feel we're doing well in planning, administration, and engagement, but all of them could be doing better. And this simple screenshot is an excellent outreach tool to show people who may not, they may be bought into the idea of sustainability, but they have a hard time seeing it on paper. And this is a great way to get to those folks. So using STARS as a tool, it translates very well into a checklist system. And I'd encourage you to pick a few each year to set goals for. I know we are here with tray lists and anti-idling, some things that we can mark off fairly quickly, we feel. It's a great tool for outreach for sustainability on campus, much like the LEED system for green buildings. The common public may not understand the nuances of green buildings, but being able to communicate to them that it's a LEED Platinum building makes a big difference. And the same with STARS, it will help you get the word out about what you've got going on campus. And again, STARS is not to be an isolated process. Use this as a relationship builder for the future. So there's challenges to data collection, but then we had challenges with STARS itself, and most of these are being corrected now. But in our school, there's a requirement for each credit that says you have to list the websites where it's listed. And in our school, a lot of the data wasn't posted on the website, although it was required. So some of the websites we submitted, we knew were not the best information. We uploaded the information where we could, but in other places, it was a more generic website. And I wish we could have done more to upload all of that information to get some accurate URLs on our report. But in some cases, there was just nowhere to post, say, your detailed purchasing policy somewhere publicly on campus. The same with energy and climate. PLU was fortunate that we had just completed our greenhouse gas inventory for AccuPac, or the President's Climate Commitment. But if we hadn't, we would have been lost in some of the data collection. So if ASHE could provide tips for that, that may help. And then I know that ASHE and the STARS staff are working to develop an addendum for peer review afterwards, but during the submission it is completely self-reporting, so any room for peer review would have been appreciated. Like I said earlier, we did have that mistake slip through with PAE 17, and we're looking to get better just like every other school. So having that option available would have been helpful for us. So the submission, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. Plan ahead when you need to get your letter from the president. It can be hard getting time in front of this person, and you may not be thinking about it until you're ready to submit, and all of a sudden we need a letter. So plan ahead to be working that process congruently with the last final stages of STARS. Submission is not the end, so be ready with press releases in hand when you submit. You'll be getting, hopefully you'll be getting a lot of attention for it, and you need to have information ready to go. And just a side anecdote, make sure that your personal notes are recorded. When you submit, you no longer have access to the notes section of the STARS submission, and if you don't have them recorded somewhere else, like PLU had that digital filing system, you will lose them. If we could do it again, we would have double-checked once more. Can never triple or quadruple check enough. We would have gone for innovation points. This being the first year, we were afraid because of their subjective nature to pursue any innovation points, but I wish now that we had. We're doing some great things on campus with rain gardens and our bike co-op and an outdoor classroom that I feel we could have highlighted, and we chose not to. Part of the reason was we were on PLU's 2020's timeline, so we were a bit rushed, but mostly we were just afraid because of the subjectivity of the word innovation. We would have used a central Excel sheet. I would never change using so many people in STARS, but it did make for a hassle communicating sometimes. So I'd recommend using Google Docs so anyone can see any change made any time on where we are progress-wise in the STARS submission. And we did a great job with as many coffee meetings as we could, but there's always room for more, especially with departments. I listed human resources and financial aid because these are departments that sustainability really doesn't have much to do with on a day-to-day basis. So building the relationship through STARS has helped us go back to them for opportunities we didn't even know existed. Our recommendations definitely include STARS in your long-term planning. It's helped both 2020 and 2020 has helped STARS. It's been just a great process, and I'm excited to see how it gets integrated into our climate action plan from PLU 2020. Set achievable timelines and stick to them. Make sure that you're doing monthly check-ins to make sure you're where you set your goals originally. And use your allies on campus. At PLU, it's the Sustainability Committee and students, but whoever you can get to help you, get help. So from here, we're working more on marketing. We want to incorporate this into the climate action plan, and because it is easier to communicate the STARS checklist than just general sustainability goals, we're hoping to have a large interactive campus presentation on the results of STARS and how people see us moving forward. This way, instead of just saying, this is how sustainable we are now and we want to be more sustainable in the future, and it degrades quickly into an argument about what is sustainability, we're able to present, we are STARS Silver now, we want to get to STARS Gold. How do we get it? And it makes for a much more focused discussion. So that's it from registration to submission and then beyond, and we're not quite to beyond yet, so maybe you'll be hearing more from us. But I'd love to take any questions or listen to anyone having problems with STARS.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. I'm just going to put up a slide here to remind everyone that if they want to post some questions, they can do it in the right-hand toolbar of their screen. So feel free to post questions at any time. And also, let's see here. Also, too, Chrissy, a couple people mentioned that it was hard hearing you, so if you could just speak up or speak directly in the microphone, that might be helpful for some people.
Sorry. Okay.
No problem. So let's get started with the questions. The first one I have here is, how many total staff hours did your STARS data collection require?
That's a great question. I think it's impossible to say staff hours because we did integrate it so well into relationship building. Whenever we met with someone that we needed data from, we made sure to be talking to them about them, building that relationship, and also using STARS in our PLU 2020. It's impossible for me to divide what was solely 2020 and what was solely STARS. And yeah, it's hard to say how many staff hours, probably 40 a week when you think about it being an integrated process like that.
Great, thanks. I know we get that question a lot of times on our end, on ASHE's end, and I found that it has varied so much between institutions, so it's good to get some feedback from a smaller private school what the time frame was there. Okay, so the second question is, what definition of sustainability focused and sustainability related courses did PLU adopt?
We did not adopt one, and that's why we missed a lot of credits. There were some easy wins that we counted that were specifically like sustainability marketing, sustainability with the word in the title, but unless it was that explicit, we didn't count it because we don't have a definition of sustainability currently.
Okay, thanks. I just want to mention to whoever asked that question that in the campus sustainability discussion forums, which is just www.ashe.org/forums, I believe there's a thread in the curriculum portion of the forums discussing this issue, and I believe quite a few people have responded to it. So that might be useful for whoever asked that question. You can also send an email to stars@ashe.org, and I could probably send you the link directly. Let's see, for our third question here, what was the largest benefit of participating in STARS for you at PLU?
I would say definitely the focus it brought to us. It's so hard to define exactly what sustainability is, but especially in my role as the coordinator where we need to be doing action and less at the philosophy level, this really helped us define what the work of sustainability would be, if not what the word itself meant.
Great, that's really good feedback. Another person wants to know, how long did the assessment take PLU?
Well, we were fortunate enough to be in the pilot participant phase, so we've been working on this for nearly 2 years, and we wouldn't have been able to submit so quickly had we not been part of the pilot phase and known exactly where to go to for this information. That was a lot of the discovery year of who exactly does track this. So I would say, all told, counting the pilot, it was over 2 years.
Great. And just to clarify for folks out there that might not know, once an institution registers for STARS and becomes a STARS participant, we ask that all the data be submitted within a 12-month period. We do allow for 6-month extensions, but most institutions are reporting back to us that they will be able to finish STARS within 12 months.
Yeah. I should say that for 2010, we were able to turn it around pretty quickly, but it was only because we had done it prior.
Great. How many students and staff did you get help from with your data collection?
So we hired one student intern that this was her entire job for 40 hours a week over the summer, the entire summer. But then the 5 other students in our office each had 1 to 3 credits they were working on. Each member of the sustainability committee, which is 19 people, 20 including myself, they each had at least 1 credit to work on, and then we had a few volunteers that were there to assist data collection, but none of the volunteers managed their own credit entirely.
Great. The next question is, what does STARS do for the university, and how do you handle the workload when the staff on campus are already overloaded?
So what does STARS do for the campus? Again, that focus and that clarity. It helps provide a baseline, because when you're just in the trenches working ad hoc every day, this helps you to go back and see where you started as you're submitting in the future. And about not adding to your workload, again, the less you use STARS as an isolated process and rather a vehicle for the work you're already doing, the more it will help you.
Great, thanks. Our next question is, are you also responding to other reporting requests such as SEI and the Princeton Review, etc.? And can you comment why or why not you decided to participate in these other rating or ranking systems?
We are participating in others. We did the Sustainable Endowment Institute, Peterson's, Sierra Club's Cool Schools, and a few other smaller local ones to Washington, but I don't believe that we'll be doing many of those from here on out. I do think that there's value, especially in the Sustainable Endowment Institute, and that's maybe something that STARS could collaborate on, but I'm hoping that STARS will be the university's as LEED has been to green buildings and become the sole reporting structure. It's been very, very complicated with the small changes. For example, in STARS, I think the requirement is local food has to be local within 500. I may be mistaking that. And in SII, it's 150. So small things like that where you've already done the data collection once, and it's really not helping you to know 2 different levels of how local your food is, it's made things complicated, and we hope to move forward with just using STARS.
Great, thanks. What credits were most difficult and time-consuming to gather data for, in your opinion?
Hands down, academics. Mostly because wherever it was a new idea, like defining sustainability in academics was very difficult. I think that academics was the most. There were a few ones in operations that were hard. We purchased kind of an off-brand of renewable energy credits, and that was tough to figure out. But none so much. A lot of the problems were just in tedium, except in academics where it became really just an unstoppable, a stopping point for our work.
Okay, great, thanks. How many responsible parties did you have attest to the accuracy of the data?
It depended on the credit. We didn't do a campus-wide peer review of the entire STAR submission, and I wish we had. If I could do it over again, I would really get every single person at the table and go through it. But instead, we just had 2 or 3 people per credit, depending on their area of focus.
Great, thanks. Would you do STARS again? And if so, how often?
Yes, we would absolutely do it again. We're still in conversation about how often. I'm not sure we need to do it every year, just because I'm not sure how much would change year to year, but I would definitely see doing it every other year.
All right. And the next question is, do you think it makes a difference as to when STARS is started on campus? There's a little bit more background information here. This person is saying that it's easier for a student intern to be hired in the summer on their campus, but they're afraid they'd miss out on faculty and students on campus that could provide necessary info. So do you think it makes a difference as to when STARS is started on your campus?
I think it does make a difference, but even more than that, and Jillian, correct me if I'm wrong, are you allowed to pick your start date for the data year you're collecting for?
Good question. It's 12 months from the date that you register. So technically, you can decide when you want to register and register near that date so that you have 12 months from when you register to finalize your data submission.
I think that that date is more important. Getting the labor is important, but the information will most likely already be out there in either calendar year or fiscal year format. So if you're coming asking for February to February, it may be pretty difficult. But I think it's very campus dependent. Here, it was just a godsend that we were able to have a full-time student intern over the summer.
Great, thanks. What were the challenges you faced when gathering data from faculty?
Faculty is just really busy, and I completely understand, and they want to do it right, and I want them to do it right, but when you're constrained by a deadline of a STAR submission date, it can be tough. A lot of faculty here on campus are really interested in getting a valid definition of sustainability in academics and getting the necessary feedback, working together, the interdisciplinary communication. It just wasn't going to happen in a year's time. So our biggest problem working with faculty was just not getting a response, but I think it was because, not for lack of caring, but they just didn't have one.
Great, thanks. As a follow-up to that question, did faculty face a challenge when adding data to your internal Google Docs system?
Oh, we did not use Google Docs this time around. I'd recommend it in the future because we used Excel just emailing to each other, and we never knew who had the most updated one. But faculty, as long as they were on the sustainability committee, they didn't seem to have a problem submitting their portions.
Great, thanks. The next question is about baseline and asks, what baseline year did you use?
We used the fiscal year of like 09 through 010, and that was because we used it in line with our carbon greenhouse gas emissions.
Great. The next question asks, what areas for improvement did you identify through the STARS process? I think this means areas for improvement internally on your campus.
Absolutely, again, academics. And going through the checklist, on the operational side, we identified some easy wins that we hadn't really thought of, things that would be low cost, no cost, and we could implement rather soon, such as implementing an anti-idling policy or going trailers. So those are some things tactically to check off quick, but on the strategic level, identifying a definition for academics is the biggest flag we raised.
Great. What are your immediate next steps with STARS?
I would really like to get a campus-wide presentation going of exactly what's going on. And I think that STARS is a great tool for that because it's something exciting, it's something new, whereas just having a general sustainability 101 may not get the audience we're looking for. This will. So we're working to schedule that presentation soon and think about how we can really integrate audience response into the presentation.
Great. That sounds like it'll be a really good way to get the word out. The next question is, how did you balance STARS data collection with your other responsibilities as a sustainability staff person on campus?
Ask for help. One, use your allies through either sustainability committee, students, or just people you know care about this. But then, again, not using it as an isolated process and weaving it into the work you're already doing. If you're already going to speak to someone, touch base with them about STARS, that kind of thing, just making sure that it's a framework that's always part of what you're working on instead of its own separate gorilla.
Great. I know you talked a little bit about marketing in your PowerPoint presentation. Can you elaborate more on the PLU plan for marketing your rating?
Sure. We have a great university communications office here. So internally, we're doing a lot. The sustainability office maintains a blog and a Facebook page, so we've been doing a lot with that. But university communications is planning on putting us on our doorway, the first website, the homepage of PLU basically, and a few other internal newsletters we send out. Externally, we put together a press release for our local papers, and nationally, we're very grateful to ASHE to partner with them on some of our marketing.
Great. What's been the overall response on your campus after you received the rating?
I think that people weren't necessarily surprised, but because we've done a lot of these surveys like Sierra Club's Cool Schools and the Sustainable Endowment Institute, and we've always scored very well. But whereas those, especially a few, can be fairly subjective, the checklist that STARS is providing is what's pricking people's attention. It's always great to get a ranking, a score, a benchmark, etc., but we have a clear pathway now of how to go for gold, which is our goal, and that's what's getting people's attention.
Great. Were all of the people involved in STARS volunteers, or were they instructed to participate?
They were instructed to participate as part of the sustainability committee, and that is a volunteer committee, but they know what they're getting into when they volunteer for it.
Great. I just want to remind folks again that if you'd like to submit a question, please do so through the questions pane in the right-hand toolbar, the right-hand side of the page. We've got about 10 minutes left in the webinar, so we'll try and answer as many questions as we can in that time. And thanks, Chrissy, again for answering all of these questions. The next one for you is, could you repeat what your recommendations to other schools are going through the process?
Sure. I'd recommend stay organized from the very beginning. It's going to catch up on you quickly, so find an organization system that works for you and stick to it. Use your allies, in our case the Sustainability Committee or students, and include STARS in your long-term planning. I think it'll help both the long-term planning of sustainability, it'll help the university, and it'll help STARS.
Great, thanks. Can you speak about communication on campus? Did you feel as though STARS contributed to entities speaking with each other that might not have at other times?
Yeah. First and foremost, communication is not my strong suit, so I'm very happy to have university communication sitting on the sustainability committee, and they're very helpful about it. But just with the accessibility of the message of STARS, where sustainability as a whole can be so daunting and overwhelming, and people may want to talk about it, but they can go in several different directions when they talk about it. STARS is this collection of credits that's easy to discuss on campus, and I think it's able to provide more focused conversation. And my personal observation is I've heard language change talking about talking about sustainability and talking about STARS as a tool to get to sustainability. We've had much, much, much more focused and organized discussions.
Excellent. I've heard that at other institutions too. That's really been a great tool for them to reach out to people that they might not normally communicate with and build stronger relationships. So I'm glad to hear that. The next question is, do you think there were any areas of sustainability that were not captured by STARS?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think that those innovation points are going to be a good catch-all, and that slowly as innovation points become less and less innovative and there's somewhat of a critical mass going, that may add. I can't think of any specific examples on this campus that would translate well into a nationwide level. We're doing a lot with rain gardens, but I wouldn't suggest a rain garden to all climate regions. So things like that. Maybe some more climate-specific categories.
Okay, great. You just spoke about innovation credits, but this next question, the person would like to know if you could elaborate on why you decided not to pursue the innovation credits.
Sure. We had a really aggressive schedule to finish STARS in time with PLU 2020 so that it could be submitted in the 2020 report. I wish we would have gone for innovation points, but we knew that being the first to submit, and we knew we'd be the first to submit because of that timeline, that innovation is just such an objective or subjective word, and we were afraid that if we submitted something for, say, our bike co-op, and then we knew we'd be under extra scrutiny as being the first. So we were afraid to put forth anything until we saw what other people's innovation points were. I wish we could take it back now, and we'll definitely be submitting innovation points in the future. I think it not only hurt us, but it hurt the country to not see some of the programs we've got going on.
Great. Thank you. One person would like to know how you report as a sustainability officer on your campus, what your reporting lines are.
Sure. I report directly to our facilities director here on campus, and that's because my position is funded by our utility company. So my main goal, first and foremost, is to get energy reduction on campus. But then I also have, and I'm sure any sustainability officer can tell you this, dotted lines of reporting to our resident life director and our students, really, our student government.
Great, thanks. This next question there is asking, what advice do you have to a school that is not located in a part of the country as educated about sustainability as the Pacific Northwest?
Oh, I have worked in a university not as educated at the Pacific Northwest, and it was tough, but find your allies. If you don't have a sustainability committee, trying to get an ad hoc one going. The more you can call attention that it's not just you, because I know, speaking from personal experience, it's easy to be pigeonholed that, well, of course, the sustainability coordinator, they'll see you a mile away. So find your allies and diversify who's making the ask so that it it calls attention to how many people actually do care on campus, because I guarantee you'll always be able to find at least one other person.
Great, thanks. Was your sustainability committee established for STARS specifically, or was it already in existence for other sustainability initiatives?
It's been in existence for 12 years, so long before even the sustainability office.
Great, thanks. Well, I believe that might be all of the questions we have. We have a couple more minutes. Oh, actually, one just came in. Can you talk about your sustainability funding at PLU, how that works if you have funding?
Fun question. So my position is funded on a 3-year grant from our utility company. And then more as a result of being a smaller school than as a result of anything indicative of passion about sustainability, I share my budget with all of facilities, so with grounds, maintenance, and cleaning services as well. And that does have a set budget, and the managers work very closely together to, I don't want to say fight for funding, but to see what, based on priorities, makes the most sense with our funding.
Okay, great. And there actually is one last question here, unless we get one more submitted in the next few minutes. We'll probably wrap up with this one. It's actually one that I can answer. This person is asking about, once your data is submitted, how long does it take before it goes live on the website? And just a reminder to folks out there that STARS is voluntary without a third-party verification process. So as soon as all of the data has been reviewed by your team of folks that have been working on it and they submit it through the reporting tool, it goes live almost instantaneously. So it's a very quick turnaround from when you submit the information to when it's live on the website. Okay, I believe that's all the questions that people want to ask, and also we're right at the end of the hour. So again, I'd like to thank you, Chrissy, for all of your hard work getting that first STAR submission completed. We're really excited to have the first one done and to have PLU have the opportunity to share your experience. So I appreciate you participating in this webinar today.
Yeah, thank you, Jillian. I think a lot of credit goes to ASHE for seeing the need for STARS, and it's gonna shake sustainability in higher education. I'm so happy it's in existence.
Oh, great. We're happy it's in existence, too. Just as a reminder to our audience members, first, thank you for participating to all of our audience members out there. We will have another webinar coming up in August. The details of that will be coming out in the STARS update and will be also posted to the ASHE website, the STARS website pretty soon, because the ASHE 2010 conference is coming up 10-10-10 in Denver. Hopefully we'll all see you there, and the webinar in October will really cover everything that happened related to STARS at the conference. So if you're not able to make it, we will do a recap in October on our webinar then, and hopefully if you can't join us live in Denver, you can join us on the webinar next month. Thanks again. Don't forget, you can always contact stars@ashe.org with questions. Chrissy's contact information is up here as well. And hopefully we'll see you next month. Take care, everyone.